So I'm standing there waiting for his food to be ready, and here comes my coworker and my GM and one of my managers, and all three of them look so mad. And my GM's like, Steph, what happened? And I'm still hella confused, so I just say, I don't know. So we're all standing there. My GM is standing right next to me, and the guy's food is ready, so he comes up to the counter to get it, and my GM looks him straight in the face and says, do we have a problem? And when this guy came into the store, he was really obnoxious, but when my GM said that automatically changed. So the guy says, oh, it's just Mess with People Tuesday, and my boss was just like, So then the guy looks at me and he said, how are you the only nice person in this store? And obviously I didn't respond. Like, what was I going to say? Oh, thank you so much. Like, no, dude, you need to leave. Nadie te quiere aquí. Yo no sé por qué. So we all waited until he left the store, and I look at my coworker and I'm like, what did he say? And she was like, when he walked up to the counter, he looked at you and said, I don't want you serving me because Donald Trump doesn't like you and he's going to support you and everyone else. My mouth dropped. I was in shock. I did not hear what he said. Obviously, I would have said something back if he did, but at least my boss had my back.
My sister and I have always been mistaken as twins. I'm 19 and she's 16, but we have the same height, skin tone, and similar voice. She also has a habit of being a copycat, from the way I dress to hobbies, even piercings. I know it's cute if you look at it from the outside, but sometimes it gets annoying. Like, yeah, we are quite close too, but why does she always happen to pick up everything I pick up? One afternoon, I was tidying up some costumes in my college showroom and found a rather cute brown and pink wig. It looks like a mushroom. I put it on, think it looks rather funny, so I snapped a picture and posted it to my Instagram. I received a text from my sister asking if I really cut my hair. I didn't mention it was a wig. While I somewhat have a feeling that she might copy that too, I lied and replied yes. I came home that weekend and lo and behold, my sister emerged with the same silly brown and pink bob cut, except this one is on her permanent hair. She was surprised that I arrived with my hair still long, then realized that I lied to her. She was furious that she had to cut that silly hairstyle because she thought I had it. Our parents think that it's a really bad joke and wanted me to cut my hair too to make it up to her. So am I the asshole for telling my sister I cut my hair when I really didn't?
Quick fire story time, let's go. This story time is about an old manager that seemed to have an issue with all the coloured colleagues but got along perfectly fine with all the white colleagues. They would do things like continuously check on the colleagues on a specific job multiple times, speak down to these colleagues, try and not engage in any conversation with them, and also pull faces when talking to them. Long story short, the manager ended up leaving and everyone was so much happier.
Storytime about how I was groomed for almost 2 years and didn't even know. So like I said, my mom used to ask for pictures to make sure that I was really at Samantha's house. Well, Samantha lived about 10 minutes away from the guy that I was talking to. Every time that I went to her house, I would leave at about 8 p.m. and go over to his house. And he was 26 years old. And obviously I knew my parents would freak the fuck out if they found out. And we had planned to keep this a secret until I turned 18. So that way my parents couldn't tell me that I wasn't allowed to be with him. To flash forward to about 3 days before I turned 18, my mom comes into my work. She walks up to me, shows me a picture of him, and says, "Who the hell is this?" So of course I say I have no idea who the hell she's talking about. She said okay and then left. Well, as soon as I got home, her and my dad were sitting in the living room, waiting for me to explain who that man was. So I told them everything. They decided not to take legal action, but my mom explained to me that I was so young and he took advantage of me and stuff like that, so I never saw him again.
Crazy story time about how my sister and I found out that we were hooking up with the same guy. So I was a freshman, my sister was a sophomore, and there was this really cute guy in her grade that I liked. But I could never find a way to talk to him because we weren't in the same grade and had none of the same classes. And my sister and I were not close at all. Like, we didn't tell each other shit, we didn't really talk to each other or anything. So by that being said, we never told each other about the boys that we liked. We just didn't have that bond. Well, track season came around. So they called all the people down who wanted to do track, and I saw him walk past my classroom window, so I decided to go too. So I signed up for track, and him and I started to talk a little bit. We exchanged numbers, and he was popular, I wasn't, so he didn't want to be seen with me. So after attendance, we would go to this graveyard right by the track and hook up. Well, the next day, we had a meet in our school. So him and I went to the graveyard, hooked up, and that's when it started getting crazy, like for part 2.
Hi, this is a story time how I almost got raped. I've been seeing lots of people sharing their story, so here's mine. So, a little background information. I was 10 years old and I was going to one of my really good friends' house at the time. Now, me and this friend, let's call her Alana. Me and Alana were really close at the time, and me and her constantly had sleepovers. They were mainly at her house, but the last sleepover I ever had with her. So basically, it was like 9 o'clock, and we decided to play hide and go seek in the dark. And at this time, her older brother, who was about 14, invited his friend over, which he was like 15. And the last round, her brother was the seeker. But stay tuned for part 2. Storytime How I Got Raped, part 2.
Almost.
So yeah, her brother was the seeker, me, her brother's friend, and Alana were the hiders. We decided to hide near a bush, and I was right next to her brother's friend, and I noticed he was touching me in spots I did not want to be touched. And I looked behind me and he was just smiling. And then at the time I was scared of cats, so a cat started walking up to me and I was freaking out. So I just tripped or scooted back, and I realized he was trying to do the with me without her noticing. And it didn't work after a while, because then he ended up finding us 2 minutes later. But yeah, at the time I didn't realize I was literally about to get raped. But now I realize that he was trying to do that with me. I haven't talked to Alana about it yet because me and her aren't friends anymore. But yeah, bye.
So as soon as I said that I need to talk to her, I could tell that she got really nervous. So then I just tell her, I'm gonna ask you something and I don't want you lying to me. Did you sleep with X? She responded, no, Stephanie, I would never do that to you. You're my friend. So I asked her again, are you lying to me? And she said, I promise I'm not. You're my friend. I wouldn't do that. So I had both of them telling me, no, it didn't happen. So I was just like, okay, maybe it didn't happen and my friends were just lying. So after that, we say our goodbyes, and I thought the situation was over. But then the next day, after she's long gone, she messages me. So she messages me around 11 p.m. and the conversation was going normal, it was just a regular conversation. But then she starts telling me she's sorry. And I was like, what are you sorry about? And she was like, I lied to you, I slept with X. She then continues to tell me that my friends were telling me the truth and asked me not to hate her. So I asked her why she didn't tell me the truth to my face when I asked her, and she said, I didn't want you to hate me. And I remember telling her, you had the guts to sleep with him behind my back, but not the guts to tell me in my face. So she just kept telling me, I'm sorry, please don't hate me. And I just stopped responding. Yes, she slept with him, but I was more mad at the fact that she lied to my face and waited until after she left the state to tell me that it was true. So I ended up confronting X again, but he just kept denying it. So I had 3 people telling me it happened and 1 person telling me it didn't. I didn't know who to believe because the people who told me X and Freckles, they were all liars. So I didn't know who to believe. Fast forward 2 years later, she somehow manages to get my Snapchat and she messages me telling me she's sorry again, and it had already been 2 years. I had found someone new. I was really happy in my new relationship, so I just tell her that I'm over it, and she seemed kind of disappointed that I wasn't like, oh, screw you, Freckles, you did me dirty, I hate you. So I thought that was kind of weird, and that was one of the last times I talked to her. I'm just happy I found someone new who doesn't put me in those situations because that guy put me through a lot, but I never found out if the story was true or not, so I still wonder to this day who was lying to me.
If anyone's wanting to know how to get revenge on someone who spread rumors about you, listen to this story and it may come in handy. So I had a friend that we can call Miranda who was obsessed with me. I was genuinely friends with her, but she would never give me a break. I could not get a breather from her at any point in time. Everywhere I went, she went. And this girl would actually get so upset with me anytime I would go over to another friend's house. I knew she was really insecure and just trying to get attention, so I tried to be patient with her. However, one day I just could not take it anymore. I got into a massive fight with her over how overprotective she is. I literally said, you are a stage 5 clinger. And in response, this girl ended up joining my basketball and softball team, which I've been on for forever. She told her mom that I was bullying her, which was a complete lie, but then her mom went to the coaches. She got me kicked off the team and then continued to spread rumors about me. I ended up losing my best friends and even my boyfriend over the rumors that she spread about me. So that's when I decided to get revenge. So I decided that I was going to send her over an apology gift with makeup in it, which was a mix of drugstore items and poison ivy.
Aunt is a housekeeper, and because she works with her hands for a living and is constantly working with various cleaning chemicals, she says her gel starts chipping within a week. She peels the remaining gel off due to stress and anxiety because she works for a busy hotel chain trying to provide for her 2 little boys at home. She said she works 10-hour shifts and having to redo her nails every week is just not something that she could afford or keep up with. Her friend actually recommended me, hoping I'd be able to help, which was very sweet. I'm doing a structured gel manicure with a rubber base, which should last her up to a month. Because she needs to keep her nails short for work, she usually just gets a basic color because she thinks beautiful designs only look good on long nails. But I'm hoping I changed her mind with these pink cat eye swirls. She left with a big smile and I could just tell how happy they made her. A few years ago, I lived in an apartment complex. I lived there for 2 years when this girl and her family moved into the apartment complex next to me. She could see my apartment and I could see hers. We'll call her Freckles. I had a lot of friends in the apartments, and I was with this one guy that I'd be on and off with all the time. We'll call him X. Well, me and the group would always be outside hanging out, and she would always be out there too, so eventually she ended up hanging out with us, and we all somewhat got along with her, so I was cool with it. Well, fast forward a few months later, and she ends up having to move back to her home state. I was sad because she was really cool and literally the only other female in the group. 2 days before she's supposed to leave, someone's knocking on my door. I answer, and it's some people from the group, and they tell me they need to tell me something. Then they tell me Freckles slept with X. I asked them how they know, and they said that she told them. So I went inside, and I was planning to confront both him and her. When I confronted X, he denied it all, but I didn't really believe him because he was always doing me dirty. So it's Freckles' last night in the apartments, and I wanted to confront her sooner, but she wasn't around. So her last night, she comes knocking on my door around 10 p.m., and when I answer, I tell her that I need to talk to her. Story time. So this one day I woke up and I had remembered about this cup that I saw a few days ago, and I really liked it, so I decided that I was going to go get it. That's what the cup looks like if you guys are curious. So I get in the truck, and as I'm driving to the store, I get a call from my mom. I pick up, and the first thing she says is, "Steph, I feel so bad." I ask her why, and she says,
Hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. It does help support us, and let's know what videos you guys want to see.